Welcome, everyone. This is is it the sixth, Prabhakar?
Yes.
This is the sixth um, Clean and Raw Food Certification Forum. As Dr. Prabhakar will take you, if you want to see the previous forums, we've recorded them and you can find them on clean certified cleanfoodcertified.org in case you missed any of them. We have, based on people's requests, some people couldn't attend all of it and they wanted to get the recording. So we put the recordings. If you go to cleanfoodcertified.org and you go to the forum, you'll see right under forum, these are all the previous forums. For example, last month we did one on honey New Zealand case study. Before that, we did one on ashwagandha. Then we did one on Zucramex. Before that, on Go Macro. And then before that, on Artisana. So this is a part of our Clean and Raw Food Forum series where we want to educate people on a global standard that has emerged over the last 10 years out of the effort of our movement, Truth, Freedom, Health, and the International Center for Integrative Systems in collaboration, which is really to help people understand from a systems approach how you define what is clean food. And then we've actually taken that systems theory, applied it, created a global standard. And again, this is bottoms up. This was created by the people for the people. And that has resulted in a standard which is being used to certify food products around the world. But the unique thing about the certification is it's a certification that was created by us using a systems approach. And so what we decided to do was to inspire people. We wanted to share with you the different kinds of products and companies that have been certified. Hopefully to inspire you to realize that this is a certification that all of you can take out to market, meaning you can let others know. So if you see good products out there, they can help get the seal, but you can actually understand what this is about. So you notice it's called the Clean Raw Food Certification Forum. Today we're going to talk about a very small, Prabhakar, they're a pretty small mom and pop company, right? Called Super Pop Snacks. And we're going to do a case study, but notice it's a bottoms up movement by the people for the people for food that's clean and raw. And we have these two seals. And this is Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai, and I'm joined by my colleague, Dr. Prabhakar Dinakar. And it's Tuesday, September 10th, and it's 11 a.m. here, a little bit after 11 in Massachusetts. Next. So let's begin. So the Clean and Raw Food Program, on the top, you'll see it's brought to you by the International Center for Integrative Systems, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which is dedicated to using system science for all different areas of research. Next. What you're going to learn today is who is the International Center for Integrative Systems? What is a Clean and Raw Food certification? How did the seal come about? Who is this company? Super Pop Snacks. You can find them on the store shelves, and how they came to clean food and raw. What is the investment to get certified? Some of you may have products that you want to get certified. We made it beyond affordable. And then how you can support our center, and then any special announcements. We're going to talk particularly about our citizen food inspectors next. So everyone benefits from this forum because the Clean and Raw Food Seal affects everyone, people and animals who eat food, everyone, which is everyone, food and dietary supplement manufacturers, farmers, restaurants, and ingredient suppliers. Next. So it's pretty much a ubiquitous value proposition. So there's snack companies who have gotten Clean and Raw certified. There are next beverage companies like this kombucha company, Bucci. Next, there are honey producers. This is a honey producer out in New Zealand. Supplement manufacturers, one of the leading providers of ashwagandha. Next. And then Zulka, pure cane sugar. Next. And then nut butters, Artisana. They make raw nut butters. Next. And lots of different companies. But the key is the standard did not come top down from the swarm, the government. This was actually uniquely created bottoms up. Next. And what we see here, next, is that the center that created that houses the certification is run by all volunteers, including the scientists, the staff, everyone volunteers. Next. So we do a number of different initiatives: Innovation Corp, Systems Biology of GMOs, and Clean and Raw. So there's two other initiatives. Next. Next. We should take that slide up, Rebecca. Those two, you can do that later. Next. But the Innovation Corp's research is for anyone who has a child between the ages of 14 through 18, and you want your son or daughter to learn how to be an innovator. We have a program. In fact, we have a application that people can apply for. They get money if they're accepted, they get mentorship, and they get training. So if you have a child or daughter, let them know. It's pretty easy to fill out the application and they can be considered. Next. The next thing that the center runs is we have the systems biology group, and this group runs the systems biology of GMOs. In fact, tomorrow we're going to be doing a GMO safety conference for New Zealand. New Zealand has decided that they're going to allow GMO crops. So we're going to be hosting the first international conference on this. You're all welcome. This just happened. It's sort of breaking news, but we're going to be running the safety conference on it tomorrow. Next. And then we do lots and lots of research. We publish papers. So our systems biology group within this center, next, has published research conclusively showing what is a genetically engineered food, but more importantly, the concept of substantial equivalence. We're the ones who brought it to the world, explaining to people that the manufacturers of GMOs don't want you to know how a GMO is equal to a non-GMO. Okay. And that comes from a policy called substantial equivalence. And substantial equivalence allows us to really understand what, in fact, are they equal. That's equivalence process is what we've understood. Using science, what we understood was, next slide, when we looked at soy, which is one of the most highest number, I think 99%, 97% of the soy in the world is unfortunately GMO. But what we discovered was that GMO soy, so if you look at column 2 and 3, organic soy and Roundup Ready soy, which is Monsanto soy, has nearly 250% less glutathione. So if you measure the glutathione, and by the way, our computational experiments were validated by in vivo experiments done in Leeds in the United Kingdom, which shows that soy, which is genetically engineered, has 260 or 240 to 260% less glutathione. And you should really let that sink in. And we were the ones who really exposed why this is occurring. But if they were to measure glutathione levels as the criteria for equivalence, soy would never have been allowed on the market, GMO soy. So there's the way that they're approaching it is through non-scientific means. Next. Now you go to our food research aspect of the integrative system. That's where the clean and raw is housed. Next. So let's talk about that. Next. And the clean and raw standard, it's denoted by the words clean, C.L.E.A.N. And notice there are the periods. And C stands for conscious, L stands for living, E stands for ethical, A stands for alive, and N stands for nutritious. But we also have the raw standard for raw food, which stands for real, alive, and whole. The way this standard emerged, next, was many years ago in 2012-13, I was asked by the head of safety at Whole Foods to help create a standard. There was no standard for raw foods. That's where this began. The raw food industry was becoming about a $300 million industry, and no one knew what raw food was. So I was asked to help come define it. And what I used was my systems approach and also my interest in food and nutritional science. So we initially called about 30 or 40 of the leading stakeholders, manufacturers, consumers, into a conference we held in San Diego, and we said, what do you think raw food is? And everyone had their different opinions. And it was like the elephant or the blind man touching the elephant, as you see in this next diagram. Everyone had their view on what the elephant looked like, and they all had their own reductionist views. Some people thought raw food was food that was simply below 108 degrees temperature. Other people thought it had to be vegan, plant-based, etc. Anyway, this went on for 9 months, and after 9 months, next slide, we were able to identify 3 criteria that everyone could agree on. Systems criteria. One was safety. Everyone agreed that the standard had to capture safety. And the reason this was so was there was a kombucha brand several months before our meetings at Whole Foods, which was, or Amazon now, which was taken off the shelves because there were some bacterial issues and affected the whole category. So people wanted to make sure the standard included safety. The next one that emerged was minimally processed. Everyone agreed that if you over-process food, you're destroying nutrients and introducing things that may be harmful. And then the other one was to make sure the nutrients that are in the food are bioavailable, which means your body can absorb it. So these 3 ended up becoming the criteria. Based on these 3, we defined raw food from those 3, real, alive, and whole. And under the real criteria, we put in the safety, which included, was a product produced safely? Now, some small manufacturers are making stuff in their kitchen. Other large manufacturers were doing much more complex processes, but we made sure that they all implemented what's called control points using some of the international standards like HACCP or ISO, which means from the time you source the food and how it comes through the supply chain, can you track it? And if you couldn't do it, we couldn't guarantee it was safe. So safety, so either you had those documentation or you didn't. If you didn't, you got 0. But if you did and they were up to par, you got 25. The other thing all the stakeholders wanted was they did not want genetically engineered foods. So non-GMO was a 0 or a 25. So if you were safe and non-GMO, which you had to be, you had to be both, you got the score of 50. Okay. So in order to get clean or raw certified, you needed 80. So you need 30 more points. The alive criteria had to do with the enzymatic bioactivity of the food. You see, up until the standard, people are saying, oh, if anything that is heated over 108 is dead. It was a religion. It wasn't really scientifically true. So we donated the technology of cytosol to the center, and we used cytosol to determine this fact. Was this true? And we found was, next slide, that if you take a product like Brad's raw crunchy kale chips, and you take all the ingredients in the product, pursuant to the standard, we said for every ingredient in a product, we determined the three or four key molecules, like in this case. And then we use cytosol to calculate the aggregate denaturing of those molecules over time. So on the y-axis, you have the bioavailability, and on the x-axis, you have processing temperature for this product in its particular combination. And we're able to calculate is what percentage it becomes bioavailable as you heat it. Obviously, if you heat it to 280 degrees, only about 50% is bioavailable. But if you heat it, between 100 to 160, it still maintains over about 180, about over 80% bioavailability. Before we had done this research, people would just assume, oh, over 108 degrees, it's dead. But it's not true. It's more of a transition. So in this case, if they got 80% bioavailability and we assigned 20 points to this, they got 16 points for this. Next. Then we wanted to make sure that the ingredients, we could respect their nature. Next. And these are different kinds of ingredients.
Same cytosol process that we use for creating products from ingredients in the nature.
Right. Right. So the key thing is go back, Prabhakar. So the cytosol methodology is what we also use for taking ingredients from nature, like these. Next. Oh, there you go. Identifying the different kinds of ingredients, molecules in those product next, and using that to determine if there are certain active compounds in those products. If we put them together, it can create products that really can alleviate human suffering from the compounds in nature. Next. And as some of you may know, we did this effectively with all of those different chamomile flowers, was it bitter orange? And we were able to identify two ingredients, apigenin and hesperidin, all naturally occurring compounds. Apigenin is very powerful, actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. And these two compounds together have a very powerful effect in suppressing many of the mechanisms of chemical reactions in the body that lead to pain and inflammation, like in your joints. Next. So with cytosol, we were able to do that. And we created actually a product called MV25. So this technology is quite powerful. We can use this to really determine bioavailability, or for that matter, many other things. So in that case, that company using that approach got 16 points. So you get 16 points plus 50, that's 66 points. They're still missing 14 points. Where are they going to get that if they want to get 80? Whole was used to denote that was this organic and nutrient dense. And so we also are able to assess that. And notice organic is in a range of 0 to 20, and the nutrient density is 0 to 10. But relatively organic, there are products out there which are very good products, but you can't get organic certification because of just the nature of things. Like honey is very difficult to get organic certification for, because you have to prove that within a 3-mile radius of the hive, there's no pesticide use. There could be significantly good products which are wild grown, like in forests. Obviously, it's hard to get them organic certified because you have to go assess the forest area. So we made it a range. Next, for those. So if you got 80 or above, you get the clean/raw food certification. When we presented our findings, Prabhakar, go back at the biggest oh, where's the picture of the front page, Prabhakar? Is that the previous slide?
It's after the clean one.
Okay. Oh, could you go to that?
I think it's not here.
Okay, yeah. If you can just go to the page, that should be included there.
Yeah.
So before you go to this, so if you go to the website, what ended up happening out of this is we actually created a formal standard, the actual paperwork, the documentation, like the recipe. It's called this SOP, this standard operating procedures. And it's all fully transparent. Anyone can see it. As Dr. Prabhakar brings up, this standard is a series of protocols that people have to follow in order to get clean or raw certified. The important thing to understand is that all of us can participate in defining the standard. We hold meetings twice a year, public hearings, and everyone can come to it and either add things or subtract things. And then we literally make it all consensus based, meaning everyone gets to participate in this process. That's why we call it a bottoms up certification. So in the document, Dr. Prabhakar is sharing here, you'll see this is a formal document that represents. You got it, Prabhakar?
It's opening.
Okay. That represents the formalities of the certification. We, as a organization, are also a member of the American National Standards Institute, but this goes into gross detail, detailing how you do the calculation, what information people have to submit. If you keep going down, Prabhakar.
Yeah.
I just want people to see the extensive nature. Keep going down. So understand that there's an actual physical document that reflects everything we've shared with you on the PowerPoint. Okay, thanks. And this standard gets updated at least twice a year based on new feedback from all of you. So when we presented this at one of the big food events, everyone loved it. The raw foodists thought we'd saved their whole industry. But then there were lots and lots of other people who said, hey, we could use a standard for foods that are heated above 212 degrees, which means this standard for the raw was below 212. And that resulted in us next defining a sister standard called C.L.E.A.N. As I mentioned, conscious living, ethical, alive, and whole. And same set of points, you had to get 80 or above. The conscious related to safety, the living related to organic, ethical to non-GMO, active to bioavailability, and nutrition to the Andy score. Same concept, but the difference is a clean certification allows the product to be heated over 212. Next, which is the boiling point of water, right? Next. So given that context, let's talk about these guys, Sugar Pop Snacks, and how their journey to getting certified. Next. First of all, this company is a family-run business, relatively small. They produce high-quality snacks. Their goal is to make things that are healthy, gut-friendly, and all natural. And they're made with plant-based, organic, and gluten-free ingredients. And they've been certified clean since 2019. Next. So if you look at it, they have a website. Prabhakar, what's it, sugarpopsnacks.com?
Superpopsnacks.com. They have 5 products that have been certified.
5, okay.
To promote
and
the certification. Same.
If you look on the right, the products are nut butters, right? And there's various kinds. And I want to, one is made with almonds, one's made with blueberry, one's made with, I think, cashews. Is it all almonds? I forget. I think
peanut butter and almonds mainly.
Yeah, peanut butter and almonds. And then they mix other things with them. And we'll show you why this is important to understand when we talk about the investment. Next. Their slogan, again, it's a small family-run businesses, snack powerfully, which was to remind people that when you snack more mindfully and powerfully with nutritious, healthy, and clean food. So they want people not to stop snacking, but to snack a little more mindfully. Next. Next, Prabhakar. Prabhakar, are you there? Yeah. One of their core values is they want to give back to the community, given healthy foods are not always accessible for everyone. So they try to do their part. And throughout the year, Sugar Pop donates nutritious bars to food banks, community outreach programs, homeless shelters, frontline workers, and more. Next. Now, when we looked at them, they wanted to take the clean process. So you look at conscious, which is safety. Next, which people get 25 points for. Live, which is organic, which is they got a score of 12 on that. Prabhakar, go back to their previous score. On safety, they got a 25, right? Next, on live, meaning is a product that they make consumable for humans, minimally processed, all those things. And that's living. And they got, I think, 12 points on that. On ethical non-GMO, they got 25 points on that. Active, they received, let's see, next.
18.
18 points. Okay, next.
And nutritious 10.
Nutritious 10 points. So when you add all that up, what do they get?
90.
So 90. So they've done pretty well. So these guys got for that product clean certified. Next. Again, to summarize, they were around since 2019. Their total score was a 90, which met the conscious living, ethical, and nutritious standard, right? Including the bioavailability piece. So now let's go to the investment. What does it take to get certified? A little bit of background on this. When we created the certification, we wanted to make sure anyone could afford it. Very small companies, very large companies. So we created the certification to have a curve, a model that was related to the size of the company. Because if we didn't, some people couldn't afford it. So Dr. Prabhakar zooms in a little bit. Maybe we make the view so we're going to actually show you how we calculate price. It's again, because we're a nonprofit, we make it all fully transparent. Go up, Prabhakar. So for a company to get certified, first we ask them, how many sites do they have where they make the product? Let's say a company has only one site. And in this case, let's say they make 5 different products. Now, if you notice there were different nut bars there, let's say all of them have cashew, but one of them uses maple syrup, another one uses peanut butter, another one uses honey, another one uses just, I don't know, some type of a fruit that they mix in, like blueberries, and the other one also includes a different fruit. So how many, their products are 5, but how many unique ingredients do they have would be the almonds, plus the 5 unique ones in there. So it'd be 6 different unique ingredients. Okay. So we don't want to overcharge people because we could really charge 2 for every ingredient, but there'd be a duplicate. We don't do that. And then the size of the company, how big are they? So let's say company's $1 million. You'll see what the price is. It's only about $168 for both certifications per product. If they are, let's say, a $20 million company, they pay a little more. Okay. So the goal was to modulate, because obviously they're not going to be using the seal on as many product units because they're small companies. So it gives that reflection of their usage of the seal. So you can see it's very, very affordable for people. And we have companies which are $5,000 or $10,000 revenue generating companies to companies that are $1 billion. So everyone's able to afford this seal. Next. How can you help? If you like this, there's many ways you can help. Next. You can donate to the International Center for Integrative Systems. Just go to it. Dr. Prabhakar will give you the link, integrativesystems.org. You can get your own products lawn, clean, and raw certified. You can become an affiliate where you can refer other clean and raw people to us. You can also buy Cytosolve products because Cytosolve's donating its value, its technology. You guys can support that way. You can actually fund new research in food safety science. And most importantly, you can join the movement for truth, freedom, health. That's another way of you contributing, but also getting back a tremendous amount of knowledge. Next. Next. So you can go to the site to donate. Next. You can get t-shirts if you're interested. Those are up. Where are they, Prabhakar? In the shop, right? You can also set up time if you want to follow up any ideas that you have for a company that needs to be certified. Dr. Prabhakar will put those links out there. Next. And you can also be an affiliate. And if you follow the link below, you can meet to start this process literally as early as today or tomorrow. Next. All right. Again, as we talked about, we look at these ingredients. Next, we made MV25. That's an ingredient. You can go to mv25.life and you can support our work and you can support yourself. This product really has a very powerful way that alleviates pain and inflammation. Next. Next. We've also created a food-based product using the same approach for pets. Next. K9701. And finally, you can also fund your own research. Recognize that Cytosolve wants to preserve indigenous medicines. Next, we do not believe in animal testing is needed. In fact, the FDA has shown it's not needed. Next. And that's why, next, next. We are very, very insistent on people really understanding concepts and tools. So if you sign up for the Truth from Health program or the Open Science Institute, we give you lots and lots of gifts to help you advance your knowledge and training. Next. That's it. Any questions? All right, great. If there's no questions, we hope you enjoyed this. And when's our next forum, Prabhakar? I think it's next.
Next, it'll be the second Tuesday of each month. So let me just. It'll be in October.
All right,
8th.
great.
October 8th.
All right, thanks, Prabhakar.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you.